Okay, so I am going to tell ghost stories to children in a week. So I went to practice the ghost stories and also get my ears just right. I'm actually not wearing this hat. I'm wearing a different hat. All right, our first story is set in Japan many years ago, hundreds of years ago. Back in the day, monks would wander around the countryside of Japan, and they didn't go home every night. They just stayed with people who would let the monks in, because it was a nice thing to do, to let monks stay with you. So our monk, Ichiro, has been wandering the countryside, and he's found himself deep in the woods, and he hasn't been able to find a place to stay yet, and it's getting dark, and he's thinking, I'm gonna have to sleep outside. But he sees lights coming through the trees. I'm moving my hands a lot. I don't know if I should include that in the video, how much I move my hands. He sees lights coming through the trees. So he heads that direction, and pretty soon he comes upon a house. It's an old, kind of run-down house. But he goes up to the front door, and my dog is upset because he doesn't know who I'm talking to. Falcor, buddy, who am I talking to? What? Who am I talking to? What is... Oh, is it the hat? Are you scared of the hat? Okay. Okay, this video is now about Falcor. Is my hat scary? Is it scary? Do you want to sit with me while I tell my story? So he comes upon this rundown house. And he goes up to the door. And in these times he didn't knock on the door. So he calls out, "Hello! I'm a monk looking for a place to stay tonight." And he's expecting somebody to open the door and let him in. But instead, a lady just calls back, "Please come in, we'd love to have you." And he thinks this is weird, because usually you open the door for somebody when they visit. But he takes his shoes off and he leaves them outside, because you also do that. You do that in Japan now. That's important. And he opened the door and he went inside. And when he got in, he found 3 people sitting on the floor with bowls and cups in front of them. And the fact they were sitting on the floor wasn't weird, because you often in Japan don't have dinner tables. You sit on the floor, or you might have a low table there on the floor when you eat dinner. But what was weird is they didn't get up to say hi to him. They said, "Please sit, eat, have some rice and sake." Sake is a drink made out of rice. So the monk sat down, and he sat with them, and he ate, and he drank, and he talked about what was going on in the countryside. But he noticed his host didn't eat anything or drink anything, but they seemed really friendly. Then he was getting really tired, and he tried to hide a yawn. And the lady said, "Why don't you go to the back of the house? You'll find a bedroom there, and you can sleep for the night." And so the monk stood up, and he bowed. Nobody else stood up. And again, that's weird. So he went to the bedroom, but he had an idea. He took his backpack, and he put it under the blankets, and then he hid in the closet, and he waited. He waited a long time. And he started to get sleepy, and he was feeling a little silly about this whole thing. But then he hears something. Outside the bedroom door, he heard the lady of the house saying, "Is he asleep yet?" And one of the others said, "I don't hear anything. I think he's asleep." And the third one said, "Well, let's go in there. I'm starving." And the door opened, and in came his hosts, but it was only their heads that were flying in the room without their bodies, and their hair flew out everywhere, and their teeth became long fangs, and they're going, "I'm so hungry." And they flew over to his bed, and they saw the lump under the blanket, and they started biting it, but it was just his backpack full of junk. They were like, "What? The monk tricked us. We have to find him. He must be outside." So they flew out the bedroom window. And the monk was shivering in the closet because now he's scared. And he thinks, "I got to get out of here." So Ichiro, he grabs his backpack and he leaves the bedroom. And when he gets out to the main part of the house, he sees the bodies of these creatures still sitting there without their heads. And he has an idea. He saw a pond out in front when he first came in. So he pulls some rope out of his backpack and he tied it around each of the bodies. And he dragged them outside. He's pretty strong. So he's able to drag all 3 of them out. And he found a rock, and he tied the rope around a rock. And then he shoved the rock into the pond. And in went the bodies after it. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Then he hid in the bushes to wait and see what would happen. He waited a long time. Hours passed, but this time he was so scared he was not going to fall asleep. And finally he hears a noise. He hears the lady at the house going, we couldn't find the monk. I'm so hungry. And someone else says, we'll just have to wait for somebody else to come by and eat them instead. And then they flew into the house, and a moment later, they screamed, our bodies! Where's our bodies? We've got to find them! The monk, he stole them! Come on, we've got to find them! So they came back flying out, and they were flying all around, looking in the trees and under the porch and all over the place. And they're like, we're going to find that monk, and we're going to tear him apart. Oh, it's scary. And the monk was scared, so he got up to run away. And they saw him, and they flew right at him. They flew right at him, Falkor. They're going, we're going to tear you to bits and eat you up. And the monk went, no! And just then, the sun rose. And as soon as the lights hit the heads, they screamed and burst into ashes. And Ichiro took his backpack, and he got out of there, and he never went back again.